Hello everybody, this is Brian Sykes with AI Explore and the AI Lab. I want to introduce you to something that I call palette prompting with Midjourney, and this is by using the SREF or the style references inside of prompting. So in order to do that, we have to first have a image reference to work from, and I want to create a palette, and I want to show you a tool. If you're an Adobe aficionado, you have access to the platform. This is a great easy tool to work with, so without further ado, I'm going to jump right in, and it's called Adobe Color. So at the end of this, we're going to transition over to Midjourney, and I'm going to show you how to use the SREF. But for now, what we're going to do is actually take a look at how to create these color palettes. So the image on the right is of a dinosaur. From that, I'm going to create the palette that you're seeing right here, and I'm going to walk you through that process. So Adobe Color, it's not the only option out there for creating palettes. There's a lot of really cool tools that can do this. This is just a great resource if you're already working with Adobe, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, etc. So let me show you quickly how to walk through this. First, these first 9 slides that I'm going to show you in sequence about Adobe Color is actually from Adobe Color's walkthrough when you first land into the platform. So you can kind of quickly skip through this if you've already seen it before. But this is the getting started with Adobe Color, and it's kind of good to be aware of. So when you first open the application, this is where you start. You can check this out at https://color.adobe.com, and this is the window that opens up. It's a web-based application, and it's very intuitive and easy to use, but I want to walk you through some of the tools. First that we're going to take a look at is the color wheel, and this is underneath Create Color Wheel. And you've got several things here. We're going to look at several of these things that you can modify and adjust to tweak and refine for your purposes. The first is underneath Color Harmony. There are different color harmony rules that you can work with. And this basically is the arrangement of color selection to make up your color palette. Now, the default is analogous, but there's also monochromatic, triad, complementary, split complementary, square, compound, shades, and custom. This is very broad, and what's really cool with this is when you choose a particular color harmony that you're interested in, as you make selections, it will automatically find the derivative or complementary colors that will work with the color you've selected. Custom allows you to kind of just randomly go all over the place with this, but it keeps the color harmony in play. Next is going to be the color mode, and there's 3 different options. Those options are RGB, HSB, and Lab. So this is within the color mode. Next is the quick selector for your basic white and black color values. So this is right here. It allows you to choose what's going to be your white and black base. Next is your eyedropper, and the eyedropper feature is to pick and use colors for theme creation. As you see here, you've got a color wheel, and you can choose your eyedropper to click on the color wheel to select a color, which then drops it into your palette down below. And based off the color harmony and the color mode that you're working with, it will make adjustments to your overall palette. All right, next is up here at the top of the screen. You've got the arrows that are undo and redo. This is very familiar with the Command Z or Control Z that you're familiar with on PC and Mac, and it allows you to undo something, and then the alternative would be Command Shift Z for going the other direction to redo the things you've already done. So this is just a quick access to that point. Next is full screen view, again, because this is a web-based browser. By clicking full screen, it takes over the full thing, and this allows you to fine-tune and get the specific color that you're after and try to instead of trying to work in that tiny little circle. All right, next is share theme. The beauty of this is you're not stuck with creating this and then kind of playing and you're done. You could literally create a theme and a design that you really like and then share it that can be shared with other people. This becomes a great little resource, and it's available for other people to have access to. This is also accessible by downloading the theme, and you can download and embed it into your existing workflow, whether it's in Photoshop or Illustrator or any Adobe application, but you can also share that downloaded theme with other people. Say you're developing a color palette for a specific brand. This is a great way to do that, and then have an actual color chip or a color profile that you can share with other people. All right, then ninth of that first list of 9 is the swatch control. Down here at the bottom is where all the colors are kind of being collected for your color palette that you're developing. And as you mouse over an individual color, you have swatch control. So on hover, the icons for swatch control, and again, this is funny because this is an Adobe mistake, I copy pasted from them, are visible. Color slider, tint selection, and remove swatch controls. Those are all right here, these 3 icons here. So base color can be selected and hex value can be copied from the swatch. So that swatch gives you all the information that you need to be able to do something with it. And this is kind of a nice little fine tuning of your application. Okay, so that's the first getting into Adobe Color, but let me show you where I want you to jump. Once you've kind of jumped into here and you've explored it, the next place is to go to Create, Extract Theme. And this is based off of, I want to pull in an existing image, something that I found, I like the colors of. This is what I use a lot when spring and summer comes around and you got these beautiful flowers, because God's a designer and his quality of color pairing is unmatched. So you can go into nature and you can find beautiful pairings that you would never consider, and those become a great basis for a color palette. In this case, I'm actually going to work from an existing image that I've created inside of Midjourney. I like the color palette that was created, which I've already shown you, which was the dinosaur. We're going to import that image. So how you do that is you'll go to Create, which is your default starting point in Adobe Color. And beside Color Wheel, we're going to select Extract Theme, and then down here we'll choose Select a File. Okay, I've already uploaded the file into the application, and I chose from the different mood. You've got several moods of colorful, bright, muted, deep, dark, or none, and none allows you to kind of choose your own adventure. In this case, I chose muted, and it allows me, it actually does the work for me. It goes through and it looks at the image and it finds the best muted mood color and extracts those to create a color palette. So what you're seeing here are the muted colors from this image that it's found, and I really like what it's gone to. Now I could modify any of these in the application and say I'd like to change this a little bit, and that's easy enough to do. I'm going to go ahead with what it's given me, and from here we're able to publish or export this file. So in this place where it says Publish Theme and choose Save, you can do that. I'm choosing to give it a name, and so my name was Jurassic_the AI Lab, and here's my colors. I gave it tags. These are my tags, the terms that I use to describe it. So beige, desert, cream, warm gray, olive drab. I could have added more colors and descriptors in there. This is for the benefit of people who are searching for those colors for a palette. You've got a number of options for what you can download this file as, an ASE, a JPEG, and then you see less CSS, SASS, XML, and then simply share. And share is going to allow you to copy that out and send it to other people. When you download this file, you're able to use these colors inside your applications. Also, one of the things I like to do because of how I'm going to use it for this particular case is while I'm in this screen, I did Command-Shift-4, which pulls up the little crosshairs inside of the Mac, and it allows me to select an area that I want it to do a screen capture of. And from that, I created this image on the right. Now, the download as JPEG, this is the file that it gives you, which is basically a simple reference chart showing you a color swatch, the code for the swatch, as well as the RGB build to create it. Okay, so this is good enough for web-based applications. It's also something I could send out, and it's workable for other people. For what we're needing for this, we don't need this detail. All we need is the colors. So that's the reason I did a screen capture of the colors without the labeling beneath. Okay, so with this image, this is where we kind of begin engaging with Midjourney. Now, you can approach this a couple different ways, and I'm going to walk you through the way I approached it. So I took this image and went to Discord, where I've got my Midjourney application, and I uploaded this file and saved it. Then I'm able to select that image, right-click, and choose Copy Link, and it gives me the link for this particular image. Okay, that link now is the SREF that I'll use to make sure that this image is going to work as my style reference. And now here's some of the applications. So I'm here inside of Adobe inside of alpha.midjourney.com, and I've typed in a mid-century modern interior office space in New York circa 1960s. It's got an aspect ratio of 3:2, stylize of 300, a style raw, and I've done --SREF, and I pasted in the link for the image. So that's why you're seeing this little image icon with what looks like a little clip, and it's letting me know that this is a style reference. So anytime you see an image like this with a clip on the bottom right corner, that is an SREF that's been applied to this particular prompt. And then I've told it that I want the style weight for this particular render to be 100. Easy enough. We've got that applied, and here's an image result. Now here's the thing. Whenever you're working with an image, like you're seeing these color swatches, which is just vertical bars side by side, it has a very rectilinear design. Rectilinear meaning rectangle and very square. So that applied does some interesting things to our colors. Note that even though the colors are showing up inside of our design, because it is an interior space or like an architectural type thing, it wants to use these rectilinear styles in its application applied to the look and the feel of the space. So my wall panels are all stripes, basically. A lot of the images that I worked with, you're seeing a stripe, very much vertical lines that are running up and down. The colors are there, but just be aware that whenever you apply a style reference like this using a swatch palette, it's going to, for architectural renderings, have a tendency to want to make them carry over that style inside of the image itself. All right, so you get a little more freedom when you begin applying it to images. Here's one of a 1960s street photography images of a young couple on the streets of New York City. Here we're seeing the colors being applied. Each of these colors are showing up in varieties. But what's interesting is it no longer has that rectilinear feel, with the exception of the bus windows. Everything else, it's very staggered, and it doesn't feel so stiff. It's more open, and the colors are applied much like I was looking for. And last is this, watercolor washes on a notebook with a handmade paper texture covered with scribbles, doodles, handwriting, and typography, vintage nostalgia with a central character, I've got all these other things, and the style reference is going to be that same shape. What you're noticing again, in this case, is it goes, hey, we see this stripe thing going on. We see the rectilinear designs. Let's make sure we're putting that into our render. And so we're seeing a lot of very structured elements to this design. And that's okay. Be aware, again, of interior design, architectural elements, physical products. In this case, it looked at watercolor, and then a little later on I mentioned palette, and it's like, okay, let's put those together and we're going to do something that's very square or very rectilinear. Okay, so this is just the application of using an SREF palette inside of our Midjourney prompting to get some really interesting results. Hopefully this was a really cool exercise for you. Again, this is just with one color palette. You can totally change the look and the feel of things by changing out that SREF with other color palettes. So explore, have some fun, and see what you come up with. Look forward to seeing some of your creations. Again, this is Brian Sykes with AI Explore and the AI Lab. Until next time, you guys be blessed.